Get it through your heads. I'll repeat myself. Get it through your heads. We don't want this, an electric vehicle made by General Motors called the Cadillac Lyric or whatever the hell it's called, right? We're not selling our Holden Commodores like the one in here and the one behind the camera here for this electric vehicle. I'll say it once, I'll say it 1,000 times, I even say it 1,000,000 times to your face, right? We as Holden Australian Commodore lovers are not selling our Holden Commodores for electric vehicles like this provided by General Motors and or any other manufacturer. Welcome back to Curtis LSA TV, and for those that are new here, my name is Matt. So we've had another article midweek by a so-called car expert, and they're probably more of an expert than I am in regards to vehicles. You know, they do it 24/7, 365 days a year, but this is my opinion. I'm a car enthusiast for 40 years of my life, so I'm going to go over this article about GM should embrace Holden at events like Bathurst and supercars events, which I agree with you there, but also reading your article, it says Holden Commodore lovers of Australia are looking for a more luxury type of vehicle with something like this. Can you tell me, if you're the person who did that article or the company that did that article, why you believe something like this is a luxury model over something like this in the camera, which is a Holden VF GTS made in 2014. I'd love to hear your comments if you're watching this, and also if you're from General Motors and watching this, why you believe this here is a luxury model over this here. So I swear you so-called car experts that do these articles weekly, and yeah, you're probably more of an expert than I am. I'm not saying that I'm more of an expert than you, but this is my opinion. I swear that you write these Holden articles up praising the Holden Commodore or what they were and what they still are from coming from me, and then you write and you read your article fully, and it's just about selling Holden Commodores for imported electric vehicles, and just people should be embracing this, and this is what the Australian market wants, right? I'll tell you what the Australian market wants. The Holden Commodore lovers of Australia, give us a V8 option. We don't want electric vehicles like this replacing cars like this or the one behind the camera here, right? Do you not understand that, right? We're not selling our V8 Commodores for something like this. Yeah, do I need to write to you or email you personally to tell you that? So I'm just going to read through this article here. It's titled, "It's Time to Celebrate Holden Again." I think that means it's time to celebrate Holden again. I'll put the link in the description as I always do. I'll just put some screen captures up here briefly of what I'm reading through here. Not going to go through it fully because it's quite a long article. Since the demise of the brand in 2020, the wider Australian car industry hasn't felt the same since Holden has ceased to exist and finished. Holden was the only Australian specific brand name, even if Ford and Toyota built their cars here at the end, just as Chrysler, Mitsubishi and others did over the decades. Plus, it's almost completely disappeared. While Ford and Toyota transitioned smoothly in being imported-only brands, Holden just vanished. Seemingly overnight, the Line brand was ushered into oblivion, and in its place came General Motors Australia. Holden dealerships have been disappearing one by one, replaced by often something new in the Australian market. Well, of course, because Holden doesn't exist anymore. While GM Australia has never openly disparaged Holden as a brand and has kept it alive for both servicing and merchandise, there's always been a sense of don't mention the H word when dealing with GM. I'll just continue here. The latter may even be the most beneficial. I think that means the Cadillac GM brand when it comes to a Holden connection, as surprisingly as it may sound. Cadillac simply doesn't have the meaningful heritage in Australia, and trying to sell into the competitive luxury market, especially with electric vehicles, is a tough ask. Well, I completely agree with you there. And this part's quite interesting. I'll put it right here. Perhaps trying to find the disenfranchised Holden buyers, many of whom are likely now looking for a luxury option, might be a worthwhile tactic for Cadillac to consider. We don't want this crap. we're not selling our V8s, which are here and here, for this electric vehicles that you're bringing into the country. You want to embrace this again, provide a V8 option, right? Ford still do it with the Mustang, but there is actually rumours that they're going to stop the V8 version and make it a 4-cylinder. Screen capture right here. But if you're a Mustang owner and watching this channel, will you actually sell your Mustang, your V8 option, and buy the 4-cylinder option? I don't think you will, but let me know in the comments below. But yes, if GM want to embrace the Holden owners of Australia again, provide us a V8 option. It's that simple. Get it through your heads. If you're watching this, if you're from General Motors, provide us a V8 option. That's how you're going to embrace the Australian Holden market again. So yeah, if the expert that actually wrote this article up had done a little bit of research, you probably would have known that Cadillac and GM, of course, did embrace the Commodore because they were making it here. But the Cadillac CTS of 2009, as an example, and previous models to that, actually had the LSA supercharged small block engine in it, like my VF GTS does. So yeah, it didn't suit your narrative at the time because it wasn't an electric vehicle. So yeah, Cadillac did embrace it, but why would they sell it in Australia, the CTS, when those same engines were being put into the Commodore? That's a bit stupid. So yes, Cadillac does in a way have a history in Australia, but it wasn't being sold on mass production because those same engines were being put into the Commodore. Why would you sell the Cadillac in Australia with the same engine that goes into the Commodore? That's a bit stupid. But yes, because it didn't suit your narrative and it wasn't an electric vehicle, you didn't mention that. But if you did a little bit of research, you might actually see that. So that was just another article from a so-called car expert. They're probably more of a car expert than I am. I don't know and I don't really care. I'm just calling out what I see. I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. We're not selling our Australian-made Holdens for EVs like this, and not selling the Holden that's behind the camera here for another EV like this. Just get it through your heads. I don't know how many more times I have to say it. Do I need to say it 1,000,000 times? Yeah, we're not selling our Australian-made vehicles for EV bullshit like this that's being pushed onto us. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, liking and sharing. And as always, my name is Matt, a true blue Holden fan, and you've been watching Curtis LSA TV.